Today, we're going to talk about the backstory of the creation of one of my personal favorite sites in the Spring Insight portfolio. My name is Erica Dickstein with Spring Insight, and I am so excited today to have with me Georgie Brophy, who's the co-founder and chair of the Maryland Aerospace Alliance.
So good to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
When the project started out, MAA was volunteer-led, and actually, to a big extent, it really still is. How did that reality shape what the website needed to be from day one?
When we started, we needed to have something that would help us communicate the mission to various stakeholders, to people and organizations that we would bring in as members, to the organizations or people that we were trying to get messaging out to. We needed to figure out, how do we do this? And the website was the best way to do it. And you mentioned branding. I think that was our first step together, and creating a brand for us so that when we started communicating, we would have a unified look as well as the message that we were all really committed to.
I love that. And I love that you're actually wearing the branding today so that we can all enjoy it. Aerospace imagery is loaded with cliches. And how did you think about representing Maryland aerospace industry without defaulting to astronauts or generic space imagery? Because I know that was something that was really big as part of this project.
I think the collaboration between Spring Insight and MAA helped that, because Spring Insight would bring ideas of imagery or concepts, and at one point we were talking almost artistic renditions of space images, like an astronaut or a satellite or something like that. There's so much goodness done in the state of Maryland around space. It's a long, rich history. And what became apparent was how important it was to say, this is real. There are real people building real spacecraft, real ground systems. That got us to real imagery versus pretend imagery or artistic renditions of imagery. And then it got us to, what is Maryland really known for? And in Maryland, we have a ton of enabling efforts for human spaceflight. And at the same time, that's not the focus of Maryland, especially, some of our primary stakeholders, civil space stakeholders. The work that we do has a lot to do with communications or scientific instruments or launching the vehicles that go up to space to take those instruments up, less to do with the human spaceflight piece of it, which is highlighted in some other states. And so we wanted to make sure that we're representing what the state does. The aerospace tradition and history in the state of Maryland is very rich in both aeronautics and aerospace. So planes and now drones, cool things like that, satellites and rockets.
How important was it for you that the site reflect that Maryland identity?
It was really important. And even when Spring Insight was working with us on the logo, we wanted to make sure that the colors were reflective of the actual colors in the Maryland flag. Many people across the country, and I would say even globe, don't necessarily recognize Maryland as an aerospace state. And we wanted to make sure that branding comes through. Everybody remembers the Maryland flag. The Hubble Space Telescope, the James Webb Space Telescope, those are actually flown out of the Space Telescope Science Institute, which is located in Maryland. And these were built and integrated also in the state of Maryland. So we wanted to use real imagery from those. People recognize those images from Hubble or from James Webb. So those are real images. So we have this overlay of the Maryland flag on top of the real space imagery. And I think that blending of red, black, gold with the calmer, like the blues and the purples and the white, the stars, the yellow, the other mixes of things, I think that works nicely because it kind of balances it a little bit, or maybe takes the intenseness out.
That's absolutely true. And it's so funny. We deal with so many clients where, if a lot of them are subject matter experts, right? Where they come to us and they're like, I don't really have great images. And we're like, okay, we'll figure it out. And then working with MAA, they're like, oh, well, just, feel free to use any of these from the James Webb Telescope or the Hubble. And you're like, okay, wow, we have the greatest pictures ever to be able to use as background.
Our organization, or the people doing what we do, we've been doing it for a lot of years, but only formally as MAA in the last now about almost 2 years, which is where you guys came in and us creating this website. So we didn't even have a whole lot of actual pictures of us doing what we do for the organization. And that took some time for us to gather together a portfolio of real life activity and events that we do so that you all could help us weave in where in the website to be able to show the imagery.
One of the things that was really interesting about the project and the process of the project was there were a number of things that happened, like Maryland Aerospace Day or other sort of events that took place that really created deadlines. How did that influence the priorities of the way that the site was built?
That was a little organic. I mean, as we lived through it together, right? We had a timeline for building out the website. We had opportunities and very real needs to get the message out. It changed a little bit how we all came together to engage at the start, and it created a little tension to go, okay, everybody, we need to pivot in order to hit this priority for the MAA. It helped us understand what the more important parts were from a content perspective. We spent a lot of time talking about the imagery and the look and the feel and how things, and then we're like, well, wait, we need to get content in here because we want to point people to our website and be available as a resource. I mean, your question it resonates deeply because that was the reality, and it really did impact what we were able to accomplish as a team and how Spring Insight and MAA had to pivot with our initial expectations of how the project was going to go.
What are some of the tougher moments that you remember as part of that process?
When we started the process, Spring Insight very clearly said, we need one person who's the go, no go call. One person. And we said, yeah, that's going to be me. And in reality, we ended up having two people who chimed in. Me and my co-founder, Michael Barton, we played off each other to get ideas and figure it out, and this and no this. But I think that you tried to set us up for success by saying we just need one belly button. But in the end, we had, in the middle, we had two. In the messy middle, we had two. And then I stepped back and Michael got us to the finish line with you guys because there was this recognition of we can't have all these cooks in the kitchen on our side to be effective customers of yours and also meet the schedule we want to meet. Having everything perfect needed to stop. So I'd say the two things were too many of us getting engaged, even though a lot of viewpoints is good, but that was on us. And then also letting go of the perfectionism to get that MVP out there so that we had the site that we needed to have and recognize later we can enhance and move forward.
It's funny that you mentioned that because that is such an important conversation that we have. And it's interesting to hear you talk about it from the client's perspective, because I don't think clients ever take that seriously as a concept that no, you can have lots of cooks in the kitchen. You can have lots of people who are talking, and that's beneficial. But at the end of the day, one person has to be the person who says yes or no, or this is what we want, because there's no such thing as true consensus when you talk about some of these things.
There isn't, and any of us who've been in project management, program management, leadership positions, you know that the buck stops here. Like, you have to have the one decision maker. For me and my co-founder, we've been lockstep in everything. So to then move into this, one of us needs to lead this one. It was a good experience for us. And I just want to reiterate, cautionary tale to other clients of listen, take it seriously, and recognize what your own internal processes are that don't meet that. A lot of nonprofits are a consensus thing. It's not always just one belly button in charge. And you all did a really good job at laying that out up front. I don't think we understood how that was different than our normal operating procedures at the time.
It's hard to take that in and to think out as to what that really actually means. So my final question, what advice would you give other volunteer-led or nascent organizations that are starting from nothing?
With regards to websites in particular?
Yeah, and creating a digital footprint.
I loved the way we started with you with crafting our brand image first. So crafting the logo, because we got to understand what Spring Insight's strengths and capabilities were that came to the table, and and I think you got to learn about us, the mission, the vision, what we're trying to accomplish. And then moving into a website and understanding who your stakeholders are, what you're trying to convey, and then truly trying to look forward of what are going to be the most important things to get across by when. So those would be my recommendations. Understand your brand as you want to portray it, and then understand what you want to convey either through actual words or through imagery, and then work with you guys to help flesh that out.
Thank you so much for joining and for doing this with me. This has been such a treat to talk about and walk down memory lane for this website.
Well, Erica, thank you. And the MAA and Spring Insight are, I consider, business partners now, and you did an incredible thing with us, and it's active and people go to it, and it's doing exactly what we need to do, and how we're maintaining it. It's wonderful. So we're really grateful to have found you and gotten the chance to work together on it. So thank you so much. And thanks for inviting.
Thank you so much for joining us on this video. If you enjoyed the topic, please subscribe to our video. We put these out regularly. This is our first one talking to a client, but it's been such a treat. It definitely won't be the last time. And if you are ready to look at your own site, go to our website and sign up for a consultation.